What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be talking about this unit here, the AGL LR Super Saiyan GOHAN. I just wanted to do a little rant video, basically talking about why I think that this unit is not quite as good as he is made out to be. Don't get me wrong, this is still a very, very usable unit after his Extreme Z Awaken that he just got on JP. He's definitely brought back into the meta, and he is good the way that he was, you know, in the past when he first came out. But he does have some glaring issues with his kit that just kind of make it hard to use him to his full potential. So I really, really want to just dive into those and do a full breakdown here of why I think that this unit is kind of just stupid. I don't like the design. Yeah, let's quickly go ahead and read through the kit really quick, and then we'll get deeper into the discussion. So he, after his Extreme Z Awaken, he is 180% Kamehameha leader. That is a very usable leader skill for sure. 180% with these EZA buffs is certainly you know, on the lower end of usable, but it is definitely good. So he's the same as before. He's getting his infinite defense raises on both his super attack effects. On the 12 key super, he's lowering enemies' attack. On the 18 key, he is greatly lowering. He gets 150% stats at the start of turn. He's getting 2 key and an additional 20% stats at the start of each turn, up to 8 key and 80%. He guards all attacks and has a high chance to launch an additional super when HP is 58% or more. That is huge. That is one of the biggest buffs of his Extreme Z Awaken for sure. Having the guard above 58% is so good. And then obviously having the additionals built in is pretty good too, because he has the infinite defense raises. Okay, and then he has a high chance to crit when there's an android enemy. That's a nice little added bonus as well, I suppose. Okay, so now we get down here toward the active skill. This is where the problem starts to happen. So his active skill, he awakens into the Super Saiyan 2 GOHAN. This can be activated when your HP is 58% or less with an Android 16 on the team, or when HP is 58% or less with an existing Android's category ally or enemy starting from the 5th turn of battle. So you either have to be below 58% with an Android 16 or below 58% with an Android's category ally or enemy, I suppose, 5 turns away from the start of battle. So that is definitely probably like one of the most difficult conditions in the entire game to get off. This is the entire problem, is the active skill. So if we were to take a look at what he transforms into here, it's amazing. Let's quickly read through his transformed state. So he's getting great raises of attack and defense on both his super attacks, greatly lowering attack and defense on the 18 key super. Perfect. So he is changing tech key spheres to AGL for the first 4 turns that he is transformed. So basically, from when you transform him all the way up to like turn 9 or so, he's going to be changing key spheres, which is perfect. He has 158% stats at the start of turn. He's getting 20% attack and 10% defense per key sphere obtained. So on top of the orb changing, he's also nuking. And then he gets an additional key per key sphere obtained, which just helps him even more in that department. And then he's also randomly changing a type of key sphere, excluding the ones that are already involved in his original, you know, key sphere changing, into rainbow key spheres when facing only one enemy, which is very, very common in a lot of the hardest stages nowadays. You're going to be facing off against one enemy, so getting those additional orb changes is probably going to happen. He's going to be able to select a lot of key spheres, basically. He launches an additional super attack when facing multiple enemies, so you can take advantage of that if you don't have the advantage of the extra orb changing. He gets a high chance of launching an additional super attack and a high chance of performing a crit when HP is 58% or below. And then he gets an additional attack 59% and an additional super if HP is 59% or more when launching an ultra super attack and your team has a Super Saiyan Goku attacking in the same turn. So it is just conditions and conditions and conditions layered onto this guy. while that is good, because basically under any situation he's going to have part of his passive active, it's just kind of a mess because it's really, really hard to get most of this stuff active. You have to really, really play around this unit and go out of your way to make sure that you're getting all these conditions to proc in order to, in order to get like all of these additionals and stuff. So it is there's a bit of synergy here in that, you need to be below 58% to proc this transformation in the first place. So you do the transformation, you're already below 58%, so you are going to get this high chance of additional and high chance of crit because your HP is 58% or below. Then you're doing all this orb changing to get yourself a ton of AGL orbs on the field. When you select all of those orbs, he's going to have a really high defensive stat, so when you select all those AGL key spheres, it's likely that you're going to go back above 59% HP, which is going to give you the additional super here, as long as you have the Super Saiyan Goku linked up with him. So technically, you can get all of it active. It's just you have to do like a lot of pre-planning to make sure that that happens. So along with, so if we go back here to his base kit, and peeking at the transformation, so basically, the most ideal situation would be if we could get him paired up with an Android 16, because then we'd be able to use his transformation without the turn restriction, right? We could just get the transformation as quickly as possible, because one thing I will mention is that turn 5 is really, really late for this kind of thing. For having like a transformation that's supposed to come out and be like this all-powerful unit, turn 5 is like the end of most fights nowadays. I feel like this unit would have been a lot better if they had made this restriction just go down to 4 turns. The same way that they just did with the AGL Super Saiyan Gogeta. The one that transforms into Blue Gogeta, he now transforms on turn 4 instead of turn 5. And we have seen how much of a big difference that makes for that unit. I think the same thing could have been true here. I really would have loved, because they didn't change any of the, the other conditions on here, if they had just made this turn 4 instead, then this would be so much better. So let's get into why here. So let's take a look at all the Android 16s in game. This is everything that we have to choose from. Now remember, it's not a unit with Android 16 in the name, because then you could use like the Android 16 and 18 and stuff, or this LR here, but it has to be just an Android 16. Now, all of these units are pretty dead in the meta right now. I would say that these two Extreme Z Awakened ones are the best, the most usable if you are going to use one, so let's take a look at both of these kits real quick. We don't even need to bother taking a look at this one, because he does not share a single category with the AGL Gohan. So there's no way that you can use them together. And they're also not the same typing, so you can't even use them on like a mono team. There's literally no way to use this unit with the Gohan and have them both on the leader skill. So, like, unless you're using like the Rainbow, like the Tech Vegito Blue, the Rainbow types lead, and then you could use this as your tech unit, the Gohan as your AGL unit, but then you're getting a 150% leader skill. Like, obviously that's not what you want to do, right? So this guy is basically out. You can't use him with him. This would be your only option. Now, coming here and looking at his categories, they only share one category together, the Android Cell Saga category. So if you wanted to build a team where you're going to have the ability to proc his transformation in under 5 turns because you have an Android 16 on the team, your only option for doing that is running an Android Cell Saga team. So let's switch over to in-game real quick. I have put together 2 different Android Cell Saga teams. This is the first example of one here. So this is a decent team, I would say. This isn't like horrible or anything. The cells obviously would make a good rotation, and then here we do have the Heart Virus Goku, who is on the Android Cell Saga, which is perfect because this counts as your Super Saiyan Goku, so you can keep him linked up with the Gohan here. He'll have a good linking partner, and then he'll be able to proc the additional part of his passive, having the Super Saiyan Goku along with him once he transforms. And then there you have the 16 on the team, which is really good. So yeah, this team definitely could work out. You're only getting 170% for the Gohan here because the Cell, his additional 30% only goes toward the Android portion of the leader skill. So the Goku and the Gohan are only going to be on the 170 portion there. So this is an option, and then your other option here is to run basically the same team, but you just switch the Int Cell, because he is the other Android Cell Saga leader. So in this way, because after his EZA, he's getting the same 180% buff, now instead of having 200% to all the androids and then 170% to the Saiyans, you're getting 180% to everybody. So it's a little more well-rounded, but it's basically the same team here. And then I also wanted to show some of the additional options that you have just on the Android Cell Saga team in general. You could also run this exchange Goku and Gohan as your Super Saiyan Goku card. But keep in mind that once you get a little later into the fight, you're going to be exchanging, and then this will be a Super Saiyan Gohan, not a Goku. So that won't count once he transforms. But yeah, so this can be a usable team. Can be. But like, what do you, at the end of the day, what are you going to run? This or like the Piccolo team? You know, like superheroes is so much stronger, right? Like, are you gonna run this, or are you gonna run the Cooler's team, right? Like, this is clearly subpar comparative to the other stuff, and you have to go so far out of your way to make sure that you can get these conditions active. It's just not good. So, you might be saying, oh, Toxic Jordan. Well, Android 16 isn't the only Android around, and we have, other Androids in the game now that we can use him on teams with, so you don't really need to bother with the Android 16 thing. We can just use the other Androids. So, excellent point. You definitely are onto something there. So let's go ahead and look at the Androids category here. First thing I will say is that this is a kind of dead category at the moment. There are a lot of units that are, like, unusable on here. There really aren't that many top tier units that are available besides the Gammas here. The Gammas are basically the only ones that are going to be really usable, and it does also happen that they are super types. The Androids team is mostly overtaken by extreme type units, and a lot of these don't synergize well with teams that Gohan would be on. So you kind of don't have many options to use them there, except for the perfect cells that are on the Kamehameha category. Then obviously you would be able to use them there. But other than that, we're just looking at the Gammas. So, taking a peek at the Gammas, let's go ahead and look at their categories. I can very quickly tell you that they do not share a single category with Gohan. The Android, or the Gamma 1 and the Gamma 2 have the exact same categories, and they do not share one single category with Gohan. So, luckily though, because of the existence of like dual type leaders, you don't actually need them to be on the same category. There are a few leaders that can support one category for Gohan and one category for the Gammas here. So there actually are some teams that you can run them on together, which is very, very useful here. So we'll switch back into the in-game portion here one more time, and we'll take a look at a few of these teams. So, okay, so this is the example of the Kamehameha team that you could run, just using, Gohan himself as the 150% leader. Obviously, you're not going to have an Android 16 on any of the rest of these teams we're going to talk about, but you can get cells, perfect cells on here, so you can still have the Android ally, which is very nice. And then, obviously, on Kamehameha, there's going to be plenty of Super Saiyan Gokus to choose from, and then lots of other wanked units as well. Okay, so yeah, so that is that team. Moving on here, actually, I'm going to skip this team. We'll come back to that one in a second. Okay, so this is an example of a team where you could run the Gammas together on, on this Hybrid Saiyans superhero build. So this is a decent team. Definitely not a bad team by any means. These are very, very good units. You just have to keep in mind that not everybody's getting the full 200% leader skill here. In fact, what is the secondary portion of his leader skill? Bond of Parent and Child. Actually, everyone is. I lied. Yeah, everyone here is on the 200% leader skill. That's pretty good, actually. Yeah, so this team is definitely not bad, but still, with how strong all of these units are and how much damage all 6 of these units are going to be outputting, what event are you not going to finish by turn 5? Like, by the time you can get this guy transformed, whatever event you're playing is going to be over. Because this team is just way too offensively capable, right? And we can say the exact same thing for this team build, which is, a Power Beyond Super Saiyan movie hero build here. So you can also line up a lot of the same characters, but you're going to have the exact same problem. What event are you getting to turn 5 with this team that they're not just absolutely finishing the event by that point? So... not the most reliable situations for Gohan's passive to be procced. And then, you know, the final example here of a 200% team that you could run him on is the Vegeta and Trunks team, because they have the future saga portion of their leader skill. You can also run some future androids here. So you can get the tech android 17 and 18 on there, which is really nice. This obviously isn't like an amazing team, a little wonky with the supers and extremes, you know, mixed together, but you could just run a rotation of the Goku and Gohan here, and then you could run a rotation of the Zamasus together, and then just float everybody else. That would work out perfectly fine for you. So yeah, this is another really solid team, but again, same thing, tons of damage. You're probably going to be finished with your event by turn 5, so there's really no point to having his leader skill this way. So the very last unit that I want to talk about here is actually not on global yet. It's this guy right here. So the AGL Android 8, the Hachan, he is going to be an extremely good banner unit when he drops alongside the physical Path to Power Kid Goku. This guy is going to be one of the best banner units in the game, right? He's going to be a super solid tank for you. Definitely a really, really solid android unit that you can run. But again, if we take a look here, he shares 0 categories with the Gohan. So being able to use him on the same team is a struggle, except for one team, exactly. You can use him on the Path to Power Kid Goku's team. Let's actually pull that unit up. I didn't actually have that unit up yet. This guy. Okay. Yeah, so the Path to Power Kid Goku here. So because Exploding Rage is one of his categories, the AGL Gohan is on Exploding Rage, so you can use them on the same team, because then obviously the Android 8 is on Dragon Ball Saga, so you can use them together here. This team will be pretty solid. Let's go ahead and switch back to in-game. So yeah, I put a team together. These first 2 units are... Oops, sorry about that. To replace the ones I don't have yet, obviously. So the Path to Power Kid Goku, and then the AGL Android 8 would be here. And then this is kind of what the rest of the team could look like. I didn't do a real build here. I just wanted to show that there are multiple really solid Super Saiyan Gokus on Exploding Rage that you can run on this team, that you could potentially have linked up with the Gohan to get that extra portion of his passive. But again, this is going to be a team where you are only getting the passive transformation, or the active skill transformation on turn 5, because you're going to have an Android here, but he's not an Android 16. So same kind of deal. This is going to be a very, very solid offensive, you know, and defensive team. By the time turn 5 comes around, you're probably not going to need that transformation anymore. So, yeah, that is it. The story goes the same way for basically every team that you can put this guy on. So yeah, for those reasons, that is my full explanation on why I don't think that this guy is quite as awesome as people are making him out to be. So now, if his, you know, that's why I say if this 5th turn was just changed to 4th turn, everything would be different. Because all of those teams I just showed you are incredible teams. And if he could transform on turn 4, that is like the pinnacle turn for difficult content nowadays. Turn 4, like, think about it. Turn 4 is like pretty much the first turn that you're entering the final phase of Cell Max. So if he was transforming right then and there, great. He could do a ton of damage to Cell Max right away, getting off like 4 super attacks in 1 turn type of thing, doing some critical hits and doing major damage to him. Turn 4 is, coincidentally, the very first turn that you get to go against the final phase of the Metal Cooler Core. Because the first 3 turns are all like charge dependent. You don't actually kill the enemy. So you're forced to be on the first phase of that fight for exactly 3 turns, and then it moves you on to the final phase at turn 4. So you're definitely going to be on turn 4 at the final phase of that fight. What else? Red Zone Broly. You're probably going to be on the STR AoE phase, the most lethal phase of the fight, during turn 4. That would be amazing for this guy. He could probably one-shot him, you know, in a single turn if he had the transformation and could do all those extra super attacks and stuff. So turn 4 would have just been so much better for this guy. But yeah, the turn 5 really, really kills him. So all of that being said, I think that this is still going to be a solid unit. I'm not saying that this unit is completely unrunnable, because the same thing still exists as what did before. You don't need his transformation for him to be amazing. This is still going to be a very, very solid unit in base, mainly because of this portion right here. The fact that he guards all attacks and has a high chance to additional built in when your HP is above 58%, that is really, really good. So, and then, you know, just with the flat-out, like, stat increases that he's going to be getting, you know, being an EZA unit, it's going to help him out so much. So this is still going to be a very, very solid unit. He's still going to be able to hold his own offensively and defensively. He just maybe won't want to put him in slot 1 on turn 1 type of thing, because he's probably going to start out with, like, just rough guessing. I haven't been able to use this unit yet, obviously, but I think he's probably going to be at, like, 300k defense, somewhere around there. So for the first few turns, he's pretty much going to function like a better Tech Ultimate Gohan. So this is going to be a very, very good unit. Not to mention, he's on a million teams, so there's going to be infinite places to use this guy. And he has a really, really solid link set as well. So, yeah, very good unit overall. It's just there are some people who are trying to throw around words like best unit in the game, and I just don't think that that's true. While, if we look at flat out, look at the kit that's right here, this is an awesome kit. This... Okay, so if turn 1, you could just automatically transform into this for free, then yes, this would be the best unit in the game. 100% hands down, this would be. There'd be no question about it. But the fact that this is so impossible to get off, and it's only ever going to be helping you in situations where you don't really need it, then, like, I can't possibly put this guy over, like, Power Awakening Piccolo, right? Who is getting his transformation basically for free. You just have to use him on his own team, and then he can just do it turn 3. And he's not even, like, tanking really well. He just takes absolutely 0 damage, and does a crap ton of damage, too. So, like, you can't say that this guy is better than Power Awakening Piccolo. I just don't see it, right? So yeah, I just wanted to give my opinion on that, because of all the talk that's been going around in the community about this guy. One side note, we don't quite know when we're going to be getting this guy on Global yet. It could be something related to the 8th anniversary that is about to drop on JP, and that's why they got it, and why we haven't gotten it yet. So there's a chance that we won't get this until closer toward the 8th anniversary on Global, which would be at the beginning of July. There's also a possibility that it could just drop next week or something. Because remember that the Blue Gogeta and Dragon Ball Super Broly EZAs did not come to Global until like a week after they did on JP anyway, which is weird because it's a joint celebration and we're getting all the same content. We're just getting it at like slightly different times, which is, I don't know why they're doing it that way. It should all just drop at the same time in my opinion. I'm not really sure what they're doing with that. But yeah, so there's a possibility that we will get this guy in a week. If not, then we'll be waiting a few months. But yeah. That's basically everything that I've got on this guy. That is the full rant. If you guys enjoyed listening to me babble for the last 20 minutes, then consider being a part of the Toxic Tribe with the like, comment, and subscribe on the video. That is going to do it for this one, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.